Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Take Home Tuesdays. Today in this episode, I'm sitting down with Christian. He's Etherton Real Estate's trustee lender that Justin works so closely with, and so does Blake and Bogdan too, I'm assuming. But today I'm just gonna sit down with him and let him just share his experience, his expertise with you guys. But yeah, before we hop into that, Christian, why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you even got into this business.
Sure. I came to Santa Barbara in 2006 to go to Westmont College. Graduated in 2010 and just loved this town and never wanted to leave. So I'm married to my beautiful wife, Jenna. We have a son, Caleb, who's now 17 months old and getting into anything and everything he can get his hands on. Since I've graduated, I've worked in finance here in the area. First I was with an investment firm in town called Mercer Advisors.
Okay.
Working with their investment operations department on just doing everything from trades to portfolio accounting. And then went to work for Raytheon for about 4 years, doing program budgeting and performance tracking. And on my wife's side of the family, her father runs a mortgage company. So him and his friends were always poking, hey, you should check out the mortgage business. You'd be really good at it. So I decided to take the plunge a few years ago, and I've really loved it. It's a way for me to use my financial expertise to help actual people. So I love that. I love getting out and about, and I love helping people buy a home. It's a really wonderful experience for everybody involved. So that's pretty much it.
That's sweet. That probably mediated that whole kind of stigma of like in-laws and you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, right. I have good in-laws. I love them. They're super fun and they're very generous and I have good in-laws.
That's awesome. Now that we know who you are, let's segue more into what you do. Okay, so let's pretend that I'm a new buyer. I'm in the shoes of say a lot of the people watching this video. Why don't you just walk me through just quick overview of like the whole lending process, whole buying process?
Sure. I would say your number one priority should be to get pre-qualified. Getting pre-qualified helps you figure out what you can afford, and kind of without it, you could be wasting a lot of time. You could be wasting time looking at properties that you can't afford, or you might be able to find, hey, we can afford a little bit more, and maybe we can get that extra bedroom, especially for people with growing families. That can be important. So another key thing is the mortgage process is a lot of paperwork. It can be almost like a part-time job. So to get qualified, especially after 2008, it's a little bit more rigorous. So a lender is going to want to see and be able to prove to an underwriter. That's the key. Everything needs to be proven to an underwriter now. So you need to prove how much money you make. You need to prove how much money you have in the bank. You need to prove that you have good credit history. So doing all that requires a lot of documentation. So most lenders are going to want to see the same items. They're going to want to see your tax returns. They're going to want to see your W-2s if you're an employed person, salaried person. If you're self-employed, your tax returns are sufficient because your business income is reported on the Schedule C or whatever schedule it is based on how you structure your corporation or business. For things like your assets, it's going to be your bank statements, your investment account statements, your retirement account statements. And then most lenders are going to want to run your credit because that way they'll be able to see what your credit scores are. And scores are pretty important in determining what loan you can get, what your rate's going to be, and kind of all that stuff. They'll want to look at your credit history, your debts. All that information goes into formulating what loan you actually can qualify for. So me as a broker, I'm not just offering maybe what one person working at one bank can do. I can look at a ton of different banks and also a ton of other lender options. So I take all that information in and I say, oh, well, this loan would be great for them, this one too. Let's look at all these. Okay. And then you'll want to sit down and kind of consult and figure out what option works best for you and why. But yeah, so that's the second, I think, thing that you should be aware of is mortgages take time, they take effort, they take a lot of paperwork, but it's all worth it. It means less wasted time. And also the third thing is people are going to tell you to shop around. I think that's a wonderful thing to do. Another common misconception is that running your credit over and over again continues to hurt your score, and that's not true. So the 3 credit bureaus, when you have your credit ran, there will be a small ding to your score. So if you have a healthy score, roughly 700 or higher, usually the impact is like 5 points. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less, but you have a 30-day window to shop around. So I would encourage new home buyers, prospective home buyers, to get all that documentation together and then go to 3 or 4 lenders and provide them all this information and ask them to give them a quote. Because what happens is every time a new lender pulls your credit within those 30 days, the credit bureaus see it's all by a mortgage company, so they count it all as one inquiry. This person is shopping for a mortgage, is what they're doing.
Gotcha.
Additionally, if you don't secure a mortgage within 90 days, that impact to your score goes away. So it's really no harm, no foul if you don't end up purchasing. And if you are planning on purchasing, you have to get your credit ran anyways. So I always tell people not to worry about that piece because there really isn't anything to worry about. So shop around. And then I think the last thing that I would say is it's a lot of getting a mortgage and closing on your home is not just about the lowest interest rate broker they can find, because a lot of these lower rate, maybe online lenders, they don't do a lot of research, they don't know a lot about the local Santa Barbara market. So I think getting pre-approved by a local lender is much stronger than getting approved by an out-of-town lender or an online lender. So they'll want that. It's also about the person. You want to make sure that you're dealing with a person that you enjoy working with, corresponding with, because the mortgage process is, like I said, it's a lot of work. You're going to be communicating a lot with your lender. If something kind of rises up, a little bit of a hurdle, you're going to want to be able to quickly communicate with them, get back to them, and figure out a way to get over it and continue to move forward so you can close. There are risks involved with getting a mortgage. The main risk being is if you don't get an approval, your loan doesn't go through, and you've waived your loan contingency, you could lose out on getting back your earnest money deposit. The sellers can keep that. So that can be, $10,000+ that you lose. So you want to make sure that you pick a good lender, a really good lender, a strong lender, somebody that has an excellent reputation online and in town, and that you enjoy working with and with their team. If you find that they're just not responsive or they're not very professional, the list goes on and on. We'll keep it brief though.
I feel like it just seems like just like being diligent and responsible with the simple things just pay off immeasurably. So
those are the only ways for banks to tell that you are responsible. So those markers are important.
Cool. I mean, I hope you guys got a lot out of that. I just want to thank you so much, Christian.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Just empowering and equipping our viewers. And if you guys have any more questions about in terms of loans and all that good stuff, don't be afraid to comment down below. Make sure to like this and share this video. I'm also going to include Christian's contact info and just everything. And so don't be afraid to ask him questions, reach out to him. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you guys next week, next Tuesday. And with that, have a nice day, guys. See ya.